Tiny Home Tours sent one of its videographers down to the Escapada Baja event, and while we were down there, we met up with Patricio, who owns the van rental company Van Baja. We asked him and some other travelers what Baja has to offer and what it's like to travel there in a van.
Hi, I'm Patricio from Van Baja Camper Van Rental. I'm originally from Monterrey, Mexico, and I just came here this past year to build out these vans and get more people traveling around Baja Sir in a camper van. So we'll be talking to you about what you can expect when traveling in Baja Sir and what different people that have already experienced love about traveling down here. I think Baja is one of those few places that remain relatively untouched for the most part, so you definitely get a wilder sense of adventure. The ecotourism here really is amazing. Obviously, our coasts and beaches and oceans are what brought global fame to the area, but the desert wildlife and going into the mountain ranges that we have really gives you a wide breadth of experiences that you can have over short distances that you can travel in really comfortably with your camper van. There's beautiful spots for snorkeling, scuba diving, even doing swims with whale sharks. Sailing is a big thing down here with the constant winds that we have. And every year we get a good amount of swell chasers that are looking for the best breaks. The food in Baja is amazing. Obviously, our strongest selling point would be the seafood here. You can eat ceviche pretty much every day and not get tired of it. With immigrants from all over the world that have decided to travel through Baja and ended up staying, we have a large variety of cuisines that you can try out, as well as award-winning restaurants at the different larger cities. But most of your rich experience that you'll get trying Mexican food will be around mom and pop shops and little stalls that you find spread out across the different beaches.
Baja is such a remarkable place. I can totally understand now why so many people gravitate to this area. I'm in the heart of February now, and it's absolutely beautiful. And the food scene is great. It's more affordable, and just be appreciative of the locals, right? That they've essentially had open arms and they've welcomed us, and it's a big there's a big expat community down here, and so being able to support the businesses and the people down here is something that I really try to prioritize as well.
We loved it from the day we got here. We pulled up on a beach right outside the ferry port, and you could back our lovely big back door, we could back it straight up to like the water edge. Everything's free. It's free camping around here, which is a huge plus.
We're both scuba diving instructors. I'm also a windsurfing instructor, really keen kite surfer, and Baja just seems to somehow cater to all of those interests in such a small period of time. There's a beach for everything. They have really great prevailing winds from the north. And then you go around to Cabo Pulmo, the protected area where there's a lot of cool diving, some of the wildlife you see, the whale migration here at the moment. And it's just amazing for us to be able to have that on our literal doorstep.
In traditional travel, you would set up a home base at a hotel, and if you wanted to do a lot of activities, here it would be best to rent a car. So then you're spending a lot more money and a lot more time to get to where you want to go than coming back every day. With a camper van, you just extend your range so much further, and most of our clients end up doing a circuit tour around Baja Sir to get to know most of what we have to offer, at least for a good first trip.
As far as this van, instead of a bicycle or a great big long motorhome, for us, this is just the way we like to travel. It's easier to get in and out of those little tight spots that I was talking about, where you can get into a back beach or something.
Being in a truck, one of the benefits is I'm driving through towns and I'm almost always stopping at grocery stores, gas stations, little markets, stuff like that. I feel like a benefit is I've become a little bit more immersed in the culture. Being forced to travel around, you're sort of put out of your comfort zone, and I love that. I've been able to practice my Spanish, and I feel like I'm seeing some of the most remote parts of Mexico that other people just wouldn't be able to get to.
So I would say one of the best benefits of
you know, taking a car here versus flying or staying in a hotel is you just get to see so much more of the country. The other thing I would say is you actually get to experience the culture versus, again, like the very manicured, just like, you know, tourist-centric version. So you're really seeing and experiencing a country and really broadening those horizons versus, you know, going somewhere and having everyone speak perfect English and everyone just like kind of cater to everyone. It's like, it's not a very realistic experience and not necessarily one that I would find super enriching. So
yeah, I agree. We flow into these places and it's like you go directly there and you miss out on so much. We've seen so many sunsets over the ocean. Just, it's really cool to experience the culture.
For me, as much as I love people, I want to get away from things a little bit. And so having the ability to go a little farther is a total asset, and having a vehicle like this that can get out past the people is why I built this.
My biggest tip for traveling around Baja would be to get supported by the people on your trip. Like, don't be afraid to ask for directions or suggestions on your trip. On finding places to stay and things to do in Baja, I really think doing an initial dive into different blogs that have covered the area before. We have our own section on our website, and we're always happy to help travelers plan out their trips and even coordinate activities for their travels. Our clients choose to stay on public beaches most of the time, which are abundant in Baja Sir. Other than that, there are a series of RV parks spread out across the state that you can also stay at, and we're happy to guide you on this process. There are also other resources such as iOverlander or Seeker to find community-sourced spots to stay and find services and resources.
So if you're traveling down to Baja, I definitely suggest going in a caravan, and I definitely suggest using walkie-talkies. We have used that the entire journey down, and I think if we didn't have it, it would have been so difficult. So definitely walkie-talkies, more sunscreen than you think you'll need, and talk to other travelers to get tips on where to go.
I would not recommend doing any of the drive at nighttime. Do all the driving in the day, but just crossing the border, even with a dog, was super easy. You know, obviously make sure you have your proper documentation for your dogs and for yourself. But overall, the Baja experience has been so wonderful.
It's been a great trip. Anybody that's going to do it, I would say take your time. I mean, sometimes you get in a rush. You're saying, oh, I got to get here, I got to get here. And half the adventure is stopping at these little dead-end roads that go here or go there. And it just makes the trip more enjoyable than when you just get in a rush.
I grew up a hiker, and the advice is to never hike alone. With traveling, we are encouraged to hook up with other travelers. And I think, honestly, you need to plan a little bit ahead, look at what you're doing. You don't want to be so strict that, like Bill says, you see something you want to enjoy, stay a few nights. Try to relax, because you're not going to change the outcome. It's going to be what it will be. Mm-hmm. And plan ahead, I think, and travel together is kind of important.
I'm fluent in Spanish, and on the mainland that became a lot more useful. But on Baja, you meet just as many people, just as many locals that want to practice their English as you do your Spanish, which makes it really helpful. And even if you're trying to sort something out with somebody and you maybe didn't speak a lot of Spanish, there is always a local coming around the corner that seems willing to help and willing to help translate and see what they can do for you. And then, as I said, there's plenty of overlanders here, a lot of whom have a lot of language, and we'll even pull over to the side of the road to help somebody out who's maybe negotiating with somebody else or trying to see what they can get. So yeah, I'd say it's a really accessible country regardless of your level of Spanish, but it's definitely worth learning the language of the locals.
yeah.
So I think that when we were coming across the border in Baja for the first time, you know, we had not done it before. None of the people in our caravan had done it before. It is so easy to miss the FMM, which you need to be in the country legally. We even met people down the road at RV camps that had to go all the way back, like 3 hours back to the border, because they didn't even realize it had to happen. But it is usually like just across the street from customs.
Use things like Overlander, Seeker. I'm sure there's a lot of other apps out there as well. Find folks to caravan with. We've had a really fun time with our caravan. We didn't necessarily know them before, but it really helped to take a lot of the stress out of the experience. It has definitely made our experience in Baja a lot better.
Regarding safety, I think this tends to happen all across the globe, where the media tends to blow things out of proportion. Safety concerns would be much more focused in any popular urban area. Once you get out and about, you're more likely to find people that are more than willing to help you out if you have any problems. Since tourism represents a large part of the Baja Sur economy, the government here really does its best to keep security as a main priority so that more people can come down and enjoy everything Baja Sur has to offer.
Respecting culture, coming to a place as a visitor and showing respect and going out of your way to like learn a little bit of the language and interact with people with gratitude and knowing that you're in their land and you're in their home, and being able to just give a little bit more than you normally would anywhere is really, it goes a long way. And I think the safety concerns are somewhat real, but they're also like, be aware of your surroundings, and there are people that are going to steal stuff, so lock your doors, put things away at night. But overall, I've had so many locals just like embracing us, being like, you're Mexican, come, thank you, be here, you know? And so I think you do you.
From everybody that we've heard from here, safety concerns are nothing like what they are in mainland Mexico and potentially the rest of Central America in the van life community. We ended up paying for a lot of spots in mainland Mexico just for that extra peace of mind and so that you sleep a little bit easier. But in Baja so far, we haven't had to pay for a single place.
No.
And we've stayed on some of the most beautiful beaches of the trip.
One thing to say is that if you are coming in a van, definitely have some recovery gear. So we have dualies, we have essentially 6x6, but still we have max tracks, we have a winch, we have straps, we have a lot of recovery gear so that if we do get stuck somewhere, we can hopefully try and get ourselves out. There's not a lot of cell coverage when you're in those in-between spaces, so things like Starlink have been great.
Yeah, just diving into like, I think the specific things that we've done that have been helpful. Know your tow points. You know, I think like recovery gear paranoia pays. And just no sand. Like if you have not driven on it, don't mess with it. If it's deep, if you start feeling your wheels spin, that's the time to stop.
We haven't stayed in any cities. That's where people say it's the most dangerous. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere on the beach, it's so safe, and it's an amazing experience. Mexico is a beautiful, wonderful, welcoming country. It's full of van lifers and travelers, and I felt pretty safe here. Do your research. Be careful, be cautious everywhere you go, no matter what, but really open yourself up to this country.
So I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about what Baja has to offer and what camper van travel helps you experience down here. If you're interested in traveling around Baja Sur, please check out our site at vanbaja.com. I'm Patricio, and don't be afraid to reach out. We're always happy to help with any questions you may have.